All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are breaking down 7 awesome passive income ideas from entrepreneur Mark Tillsbury. Seriously, these are ideas that could help you build wealth while you're literally sleeping. The whole point here is to stop trading your time for money and instead start making your money or your skills work for you.
So, where does this all start? Well, it begins by completely throwing out that old saying. You know, the whole traditional path get a job, get a mortgage, retire when you're 67. That is not the only way to do things anymore. If you think the wealthiest people out there are just working a 9 to 5, you are missing a massive piece of the puzzle. Which brings up a really important question.
And the answer? It's a huge, resounding no. There is another way, one that doesn't depend on you clocking in and out every single day. The solution is something called passive income. But what does that really even mean?
Now, this is a really key distinction. This isn't about looking at your stock portfolio and seeing the value go up on paper. Nope. This is about real, actual, spendable cash hitting your bank account month after month. It's money made from an asset you own, not from the hours you put in.
Okay, so where do you even begin? Well, our first batch of ideas is for those of you who already have some capital saved up and ready to invest. This is all about putting your existing money to work so you don't have to. First up on the list, dividend stocks. Honestly, this is one of the purest forms of passive income out there. You buy a small piece of a huge company, like a Starbucks or a McDonald's, and because you're a part owner, they literally pay you a share of their profits. It's really that simple.
But, and this is a big but, not all dividend stocks are created equal. I absolutely love how the source material breaks this down. You've got Dividend Kings at the very top. These are companies that have increased their dividend payouts for over 50 years straight. Just below them, you've got the Dividend Aristocrats with a 25-year track record. The key here is focusing on that consistency, not just chasing a high-yield stock that might be risky.
So what does it actually take to make a real income from this? Well, to make just $100 a week from a solid, reliable stock like Starbucks, you'd need to invest over $216,000. Yeah, that number really puts into perspective the huge barrier to entry for this method.
And this scorecard, wow, it really says it all, doesn't it? The time required is a 1 out of 5. It's super passive once it's set up. But the money required, a 5 out of 5. And the difficulty of hitting that $100 a week goal is also a 5. So basically, it's incredibly easy if you have a ton of cash, but almost impossible if you don't.
Okay, let's move on to our second idea for folks with capital, becoming a private investor. Think of this like you're on Shark Tank, but for real. You're putting money into a private business before it ever hits the stock market, hoping you get in on the ground floor of the next big thing. And there are kind of 2 main flavors here. First, you've got the angel investor. This is often someone who backs friends or family with smaller amounts of money and is usually a bit more forgiving if things go wrong. Then you have the shark. They have deeper pockets, they want some control, and they are laser focused on scaling that business for a massive payday. You got to figure out which one you want to be. And if we look at the scorecard for this one, it's definitely more of a middle-of-the-road option. It takes a decent amount of time to find the right deals, a good bit of money to invest, and it's, kind of moderately easy to hit that $100 a week mark if you find the perfect business and set up the deal just right.
But what if you don't have a giant pile of cash just sitting around? Well, that is exactly where this next section comes in. These ideas are for people who have more time than they have money. This is all about building your own income-generating machine from the ground up. Now, idea number 3 is just brilliant. It's about taking a side hustle where you trade your time for money and turning it into an automated system. So, for example, instead of training one dog at a time for an hourly rate, you create an amazing digital course on dog training that you can sell thousands and thousands of times. So, how do you actually do this? Well, it boils down to this simple 3-step plan. First, you have to figure out what you're good at. What's your skill? Second, you package that skill into a digital asset, an ebook, an online course, a guide, whatever. And third, you use the incredible power of social media to get it in front of people. You build it once and it can sell forever. And the scorecard for this one is pretty much the total opposite of dividend stocks. The money required is a 1 out of 5. You can get started for practically nothing. And the ease of hitting $100 a week, also a 1. I mean, if your product costs $25, you only need 4 sales a week. The big trade-off? It takes a good chunk of time up front to build, so it gets a 3 out of 5 there. This leads perfectly into our fourth idea, making online content. We're talking YouTube, blogging, maybe a podcast. Every single video or article you create becomes its own little digital asset, a tiny employee working for you 24/7, earning you money from ads and sponsorships for years and years. And maybe the best piece of advice from the source is this right here. Success in content creation isn't just about luck anymore. The algorithms are smart. They will find and promote good content. The real challenge is being honest with yourself and putting in the work to create something that's genuinely high quality and gives people real value. Now, this scorecard shows a really extreme trade-off. It gets a massive 5 out of 5 for time required. Let's be real, making great content is a long and difficult process. But just like the automated side hustle, it costs almost nothing to start, and it's rated a 1 for ease of earning that 100 a week once you get the ball rolling. All right, idea number 5 is affiliate marketing. And this is one of the easiest models to wrap your head around. Basically, you promote other companies' products using a special link. Every time someone clicks your link and makes a purchase, you get a commission. The best part? You don't have to create a product, ship anything, or deal with customer service. The ratings here are super appealing, especially for beginners. The money you need to start is a 1 out of 5. It costs $0 to sign up for these programs. The time it takes is significant but manageable at a 3.5. And the ease of hitting our target is a 2. You definitely need patience to build an audience, but it's one of the most accessible ways to start. Okay, for our final category, we're looking at something that most of us completely overlook: the assets you already own. You might literally be sitting on a hidden gold mine and not even know it. And just look at this list. The possibilities are endless. You can rent out your driveway if you live near a stadium, your spare room on Airbnb, your car when you're not using it, even your camera equipment or your attic for storage. The source mentions a friend who makes $140 a week just from renting out 2 spots in his driveway. It's all about thinking outside the box. And honestly, this might be the most attractive scorecard of them all. Time required, a 1 out of 5. You just list your item on an app. Money required? Also a 1. You already own the thing. And the ease of making $100 a week is a solid 2. This is, without a doubt, one of the fastest and cheapest ways to get started with passive income. So after looking at all these options, from the ones that need a lot of money to the ones that need a lot of time, the real question isn't if you can build passive income, it's how you're going to do it. Whether you start small by renting out your spare room, or you go big and start building a digital empire, the whole journey starts with that first step. So which path are you going to explore? Let me know. And hey, if you want more explainers like this to help you grow your wealth, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.